Hello to everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome to this session. So we're gonna try to explore the new world of accountants in the future, and what will be the relationship between CFOs, you guys, and the CPAs, us guys. So first of all, thank you obviously to CFO Connect and Spendesk for such an amazing event as always. Just some admin stuff. You have the Q&A section in the chat. So do not hesitate. You can ask questions. You can leave comments. You can add GIF, emojis, whatever you like. It's always welcome. So we're gonna try to answer the questions as much as we can during the session. But if some questions are not answered from our side, we'll be at the advisory and accounting table after the session. So please feel free to join, and we'll have a small chat about the future of the accounting industry. That would be a pleasure. So today I'm happy to welcome Gregor. Hi, Gregor.
Hi, Johan. Hi, everyone.
So that's nice having you here. Maybe you can quickly introduce yourself to the audience.
Yes, very quickly. My name is Grégoire Proust. I'm CEO and founding partner of Impulsar. Impulsar is a financial HR and legal services company dedicated to small, mid-cap, and tech companies. So I'm very proud to be here with you guys, and maybe Johan, you can present yourself now.
Yeah. So yeah, but basically I started my career at EY in Paris, where I was in charge of accounting and tax compliance for American public groups. And now I've been in the US for over 10 years, where I helped many European companies scaling up in the US. And I co-founded as a tax partner the firm Orbis in New York. Where our approach is really focused on actually processes automation, and so that's why I'm happy to be here with you today. So obviously, Gregor and I were both CPAs, but we both co-founded our own firms. So we really see ourselves as entrepreneurs as well, and I think that's a really important part of our business is the entrepreneur part. And what we think is interesting for this webinar is that we all have the same background, kind of, as a CPA, but we all practice the profession in different countries. And so even though we come from different perspectives, we still have the same vision about the profession, and that's why we're gonna try to share with you today. It's the different perspectives towards a common vision.
Johan, sorry, I will add that the same vision we share is that technology will support but not replace accountants. So I think it's a very important thing to have in mind. And sorry for interrupting you, Johan.
No, sure. And I think they're gonna see that throughout the presentation. So today we're gonna cover this session four main topics mainly. Obviously, we're gonna define cloud accounting and the emergence of the cloud accounting. We're gonna go to the importance of data analysis and business strategy, and what it means for accountants and how accountants can be tech savvy to have skills towards much more data analysis and business strategy, and how it's gonna help us to actually meet client expectations and future needs for clients. And at the end, if we have some time, we go through some Q&A if we have time.
Just Johan, as an info, I am full screen, so I don't see the Q&A. So if you can have a look on it.
Yeah, I see it, so no problem. I will.
Okay, guys, let's move to the first part. So the emergence of cloud accounting and Open API. So what we wanted to share with you guys is that we believe that it's an inevitable shift. As you know, in business as in life, change is the only true constant. So we always need to adapt to new operational paradigm, and we believe that accounting is not an exception. So let's have a look to a couple of figures to explain what we just said. So 45 to 60%, it's the share of accounting firms' revenue allocated to bookkeeping and general accounting. Means that the field of possible automation is wide. Okay, Second key figure, it's 58% of the French. Sorry, I'm French, so I'm speaking about my market, but maybe Johan, you'll explain that it's the same in the US, but 58% of the French accounting firms have set up a digital transition strategy based on cloud and open API. So it means that we are really, really on the move. Third figure, the idea is 7%. It's the share of French accounting firms said that they have finalized their digital transition. Okay, so this figure is really, really important because it shows you guys that, okay, we are on the right way, but the way is still long. Okay, and what we also wanted to share with you is that we believe with Johan, and we are facing that every day with you, the CFOs. We are at the turning point of our accountant business and profession, and we are working to set up a new model. And the CFOs help us as they challenge us and as they ask us more and more.
Yeah, so I think before diving into it, I think the good part is to the first point is to define cloud accounting. Can you go back into the slide? Yeah, thanks. And so for me, I always say, especially for like new staff members joining in the firm and all that, they always see cloud accounting, and a lot of clients, they see cloud accounting as just a software in the cloud. I always say that's just, this is not cloud accounting. Cloud accounting, the software in the cloud, it's like when you had your software on your desktop, except that no, it's on the web browser. And for me, cloud accounting, you're doing cloud accounting when you start connecting application between all of them, and everything is based on cloud. And that's where you really start doing cloud accounting, meaning that it's cloud-based, it's multi-device, the staff can access, the CFO can access on their phone. It's live all the time, and for the data to be live, you need to have automation between different applications that the firm and the CFOs are using. And that's where, for me, cloud accounting should go, and that's what cloud accounting should be.
Exactly.
And obviously, do you want to add a comment, maybe, Goro?
No, I fully share your point of view. And on the right side of the slide, you can see that we put the upsides of what Johan just explained. I don't know if you want to go through, Johan, or if you want me to go through it.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously go ahead.
Yeah, we believe with Johan that the upsides of the cloud accounting, but also automation and so on, is enable accountants to centralize data. So that's something very important, and Johan just explained that cloud help us to do so. Reduce waste. We are very keen on environment as of today, but for good reasons, not for trendy reasons, for real reasons. So cloud help us to reduce accounting waste. Third part for CFO, I think it's a very important part. We want to lower cost of accounting, lower cost of accountant. I mean the pure production labor work, and also we want to improve communication between accountants, communication between accountants and our clients, the CFO, and collaboration means that we share ideas, we share data, we share everything.
So we have a really good question. We have a really good question from Radhika. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. So her question, yeah, here it is. So Radhika, it's actually a good question because, as you know, you have a lot of ERP type of software where everything is really well automated, even into the cloud. Like I can give you some examples like NetSuite or some SAP suites. And obviously for like a startup, it could be a high cost to implement that. And obviously that's not the right thing to do. And so that's why CPA, obviously they have a real role to play within the middle market and the startup industry. Because even though using ERP could be really costly for a startup, that's not funded, you have a lot of small software that can connect together, some small add-ons. I see that in the US, for example, the cloud accounting software are really open API. They are really, really open. And so basically, depending on what you use, we can actually just connect them and do some light coding with open API coding. And I think that's the future, and that's what accountants should be focusing on, trying to get the skills to actually connect all those applications, so you can help actually startups for small costs. So before they actually they grow and they go into SAP or NetSuite, something much more heavy and much more costly.
I think we have the nice transition for the next part, which is related to OpenAPI. If you mind, Johan, we can go through this slide now. The idea is that we use the term of OpenAPI, but we could also have mentioned automation. We could have mentioned artificial intelligence. Accounting world is clearly switching to this world of OpenAPI automation, RPA, which means robotization, procedure automation, and because of the reasons mentioned on the left side of the slide, OpenAPI is developing, and we are moving to this new world. So the main reason why accounting is switching to OpenAPI is less regulation, and I can speak about that very easily, as in France, accounting world is was really strongly regulated. So nowadays we face less regulation, which means new player, which means new rules, and so on and so on. We face the other reason is the market digitalization, and I think the last and most important reason is that as of today, accountants, we are working with clients, okay, with you, the CFOs, and you, as of today, you use OpenAPI for your cash management, for your procurement management, for your revenue management, for your payroll management. So if accounting doesn't move from the former world to the new world, accounting would not be connected to all those new applications. So it's very important to understand this. Johan, maybe you want to deal with the consequences?
Yeah, and that's that's pretty much where what I was saying to Radhika is that to connect the APIs for like smaller firms and middle market firms, startup style, that's really where the CPA for me should focus, and that's where we're going to really be a business advisor and a data analysis to the CFOs and to the market. Obviously, consequences, it's for me, it's obvious. Time saving, efficiency, automation, reduce human error. So I think that's no brainer. And I think it opens the market too. So obviously you have new players like the accounting, the cloud-based software that do some pre-accounting now. Even the banks starting to go into it. So you have new players, and so therefore you have new rules, and that's why most of the countries, for example, in Europe, they need to deregulate the market because they don't really have the choice. You have new players that it's like when Uber came in on the market at that time. There was no way for the governments to really stop the trend, and I think that's what's happening here. Not saying that we're going towards the Uberization of the profession, but that's pretty much how we stand. And so then there are two ways to see this. So I think you can go to the next slide. Two ways to see this. Is this a threat or an opportunity? And I think you have a nice statistics here on the French market, Gregor, on the threat culture.
Yeah, we wanted to better understand, and we were just wondering, is all this automation process, new accounting world API and so on, is this a threat or an opportunity? We wanted to talk about two surveys and two surveys. Yes, one was released in 2015. So as you can read on the slide, all the accounting industry leaders, they were convinced that emerging technologies would end in death accountancy. Okay, so it was a really nightmare vision. There is another survey, Robert Half survey, which was released in 2019, and which was maybe less pessimistic, but even shows that accountants express big concerns about being replaced. Why so? So the question is, why do the accountants think this way? So on the right side of the slide, you can see the main reason. There is up to. Go ahead.
I think we have a good question. It's not really related, but I think if we can answer the question because it's related to cloud accounting. I don't know if you see it in the.
No, I can't see it because I'm
from Laila. Okay, so Laila, here it is. So Laila, COVID crisis increases cyber attack. How in the cloud world can we secure accounting data? So that's actually a really good point. And once again, when you think about cloud accounting and desktop accounting back then, it's the same way we need to think the cyber security. Before you had antivirus for VPNs type of access to access your desktop or your data. No, you just go into the cloud. So you need to, as a CPA, we need to adapt and not be scared about that. And so you have some cyber antivirus, new software type of virus, and that's where you should go. Obviously, if you keep your VPN style antivirus to a cloud accounting style accounting, that is not gonna match. And so that's why you need to go into cyber virus. And even more than that, so I will give you some what we do at Ofirm and what we look at with some IT guys is know like how the hackers attack. They will attack through your application, so they can go into your desktop and then go into your application, find your password and all of that. And so basically they are trying to get to the endpoints. And so you should look at to reply to your question, Naila. You should look at all those type of tools. Which is called endpoint cyber antivirus, and that's where we should go. So when you think about cloud accounting, you should think differently about cyber antivirus and cyber attacks and how to protect yourself. And that's where, when you move to the cyber antivirus, that's where you've made the complete transition to me. Thank you for a good question, and that could be something that could be seen as a threat as a CPA. Because obviously we are not ITs and we are not trained for that, and so it could be, when you don't know one thing, it could be seen as really scary and as a threat. But obviously, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
But on our side, Goa and I, we don't really see that as a threat. We really see that as an opportunity, and that's why we're here today, because we are really optimistic guys, and we think that's the future, and that's a big opportunity for us, specifically for the new generation of CPAs. That's where we have a big opportunity.
No, okay. So I think it's the good transition. Just before we move to the opportunity, the idea is that up to 75% of the work of an accountant could be automated. So it's up to, so not the average, okay. But it shows you why some accountants are threatened all around the world, okay. But let's move to the positive vision we share with Johan, and we'll try to explain you why we believe that it's not a threat, but it's more an opportunity. And we just for you to better understand our mindset. Our mindset is that you always need to worry, because if you want to be competitive, if you're never worried, okay, you will face some troubles. You always have to be worried, okay, but you don't have to be pessimistic. And we believe with Johan that we are not going to be replaced. We are not going to be replaced. We are going to adapt our market, ourselves. We are going to adapt our businesses to a new reality. Okay, so that is something very, very important. Okay, so why we believe it's a big opportunity today. We quoted one of your peer, the CFO Nadim Alidina. Okay, what you need to understand is when he said, you want people to come in and add value, to be active thinkers. Okay, I think it's the main thing you should have in mind, and it's the new mindset we all shall have as accountants, as CFOs, and so on. So that was something very interesting and important. We wanted to share with you. The other idea is that with automation, we believe that clients are getting more from their accountants. Okay, you don't get as CFOs, you don't get you are not expecting us for bookkeeping. We'll see that a bit further. You expect us for advisory. And automation will allow that. Okay. Also, team members are working on more engaging and interesting engagement. It means that accountants, they are not like bookkeeping tickets and tickets and tickets. Okay, the idea is that they will switch to more engaging work and interesting work. Okay, and the third argument we had is that firms are able to generate higher margins. We spoke about that a bit earlier. So better efficiency, and they will get more higher value from our work.
Yeah, and I think that's the main word, if I may say, in this review of the market. It's value. Basically, this is an opportunity for us and for everyone to add value into the accounting and into the CFO world. And that's where we can really add value. It's the consulting part of our business, and that's most of the time that's why clients and CFOs come to us. It's to give advices and to be their consultant and their business consultant. And so that's where we're actually going to be able to focus. We've obviously an important. So I think that's to conclude, but you can go towards the next one because I think that's a good transition to go to the importance of data analysis and business strategy, and how, because of the increasing time of consulting time that we're going to have, we're going to be able that if we focus on data analysis and business strategy to be really one of the key stakeholders for CFOs. And why? It's just because we have access to the data, basically. And so I think that's a big plus for us. We have access to the financial data. And that's how we'll be able to help CFOs to translate business processes into reporting, financial reporting, or extra financial reportings. And I think we have a good scheme here to illustrate our speech.
Yes.
This is what pretty much I said to my firm, to my clients, is that no, you cannot have a CPA that does not understand your business and that does not help you throughout this process of and understanding the end goal. And the end goal is most of the time is reporting release, meaning that you need to have the data. It could be financial or extra financial data, live basically. And you need them to make sure they have a good quality and that they are released the formats that you expect for your other stakeholders on your side. And so to get to this last step, which is step 6, for me there are like 5 other steps. And the first steps, and that's where CPA should focus as well, and that's where if a CPA does not understand your business model and your product, for me there is an issue, especially with regulation that are harder and harder and more complicated. And if you don't understand the business, that's hard to actually apply the regulations to the business model and to the products, especially in the tech world that we live right now. And I think step 1, it's where we can have a really a good business consulting skills that we already have. It's understanding the business model. So maybe go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to share an experience. I think step 1 is also it's also a way for us accountants, CPAs, and so on to challenge CFOs and get challenged by the CFOs. Means that, for example, I was working on a marketplace last month with one of my employee. And if we wouldn't have discussed with the CFO about the marketplace issues, VAT issues on marketplaces, and so on, we wouldn't be able to get to the step 6. It won't be possible. So what I explain to my team, as Johan does it with his team too, as he just explained, is if you don't understand the business, you're dead, clearly, and you cannot move to the step 2, 3, and not talking about the step 6. So that's the
it's even more true when you talk about tax. You know, it might seem weird to say that, but I'm a tax guy, and you know, like in the US, what's really a big deal, it's sales tax issues, the VAT in the US. And basically, if you look at the regulations, they even go into the detail of what type of IT setup you have, and which will determine in what tax section you go into the code, so that how you will be taxed if you're a SaaS or PaaS CIS. So it goes, even the regulation starts going really deep into the IT detail of the business model. And so without understanding the business model and the environment, obviously you cannot conclude on even like some tax conclusion. And so I think that's so there is another question from Laura that's I think it's really good. It illustrates for what we say here. If we can have it on the screen. The question is, do you think automation of basic accounting tasks removes the opportunity for younger accountants entering the field? Actually, no. I don't think that. I think it's actually an opportunity as well, meaning that you will have more time to actually have a big picture. And since you won't have any manual tasks anymore, it's all about using your brain. And so you can start straight out of school by analyzing data. So basically, younger generation will have much more time analyzing data. And for me, what I hope is that they will have much more IT skills, and they will be able to actually give that skills to the firm to actually implement tools, like in the step 3 here. So implementing tools and using the time to actually analyze and to train them. And so they will be, since they're going to start analyzing data and implementing tools at a really younger age than the previous generation, they would have a really bigger value going forward and towards their growth. And I think that's actually much more interesting for the younger generation. And I think that's actually how we can incentives people coming into the field, and how we can have a better image of the profession.
We'll deal with this a bit later, more deeply. Yeah. Step 2, are you finished, Johan, with the step 1?
Yeah. And so basically,
Yeah, so let's move to step 2 of our 6 steps workflow. So the step 2 is understanding your environment and needs. So the idea is that you as an accountant, you have to understand the environment of your client, discussing with the client about its environment, benchmark, competitors, and so on and so on. You need to have a clear vision of that, and also you need to understand the needs. What's the goal? Okay, what is the goal? What does the CFO expect from you? Okay, so that's very, very important. Do you want to drive the performance of a department? Do you want to have a dashboard for the board? Do you want, depending on the goal, you will set up a different approach. Okay, so that's something very, very important. Maybe you want to move to step 3, Johan?
Yeah, and step 3 and step 4, that's something that's what I was explaining, where we can have additional value. Is that we can be a consultant on implementation and all of that, and then be a really key stakeholder on the data analysis, because we used to analyze financial data already. So it's not just about financial data. You can do something else, like the B Corps and the RSC and all that type of economic environment is non-financial data is coming up. And so we can be a really key stakeholder to actually review and analyze this data. And that's where actually the red part, the data analysis part, that's for me the skills that we need to develop the most. Even myself, I think I'm lacking some skills in this part, and I always need to improve. And that's where the younger generation should focus on tools implementation and data analysis. I think that's yeah.
And the red part. So as you can see, we split the 6 step. There are 3 business steps and 3 that so-called data analysis steps. I think the idea, just to complete just what you just said, Johan, the idea is that the step 3, 4, 5, they are really important, and they are in the middle of the automation process, and the accountants and accounting firm need to invest in tools, and need to invest in training, and we'll speak about this a bit after. Okay.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I always talk about is what I call the intergenerational gap. Is that sometimes, in the hierarchy of a CPA firm, you have the partners who has been partner after 15 years of career, and then you have the junior who just started, and between both of them, there are like 15, 20, even like 30 years of experience difference. And within those 30 years span, the technology improves so much that most of the partners that the technology are not up to date to the technology, and so I think that's why we should use the younger generation to help us on the implementation of tools and data analysis, and that would give us much more motivation, and that would actually, for me, lower the gap between intergenerational generations within a firm. And so that's why basically all the conclusion on all of that is that we should be a key stakeholder and leverage data to create the value, additional value to our usual consulting value. And so to that, I think it's a good transition to how obviously the accountants is going to need to be much more tech savvy. And what does that mean? So I think we have a nice GIF for you. Obviously, that's not a tech savvy guide.
The idea of this part is to share with you the skills that we believe that are required by the new accountant. So I think it's a very important part. And so let's move. We did a little profiling work, and we would be very happy if some of you could share their opinion on the profiling we did. Feel free to comment if we forgot some soft or hard skills. But the main idea is that yesterday when someone was hiring an accountant, during the recruitment, you were more speaking about GAAP, accounting techniques, tax expertise, Excel proficiency, legal questions. What we noticed, and we would like you to share your experiences. What we noticed with Johan is that clearly our recruiting process, they move from the right part of the slide to the left part, which means that when we are recruiting an accountant as of today, when we are recruiting those people, we are more and more focused on soft skills, which mean ability to adapt and react to change. This is something really, really important. Curiosity. Okay, we don't want someone who is not curious. Curiosity. When you have a look to what we just explained about automation, open API, new players, new rules. If you're not curious, it's a bit hard to follow the stream. So curiosity is really, really important. Fearlessness. Okay. If you are not, if you have fear of change, fear of new things, it would be hard. And last but not least, it's out of the box thinking. Okay. It's something that is really, really important. And as employers, with Johan, when we recruit someone, again, we are really focused on these soft skills.
And for me, I've seen other firms trying to do that, but sometimes it's hard because when you focus more on soft skills than hard skills, obviously the staff or the person, the team member, is going to be less efficient at the beginning, and so the learning curve takes a little bit younger, obviously, and that's sometimes it's hard when you're in a business model to say, hey, I'm going to change my hiring process and having a longer learning curve of my team. So longer time getting efficiency from the team, basically. And so sometimes that's hard to think outside of this because the learning curve is longer. But I always say the learning curve, when you focus on soft skills, might be longer. But once you get to the inflecting point, that's where the exponential of the learning curve is way higher. And I always give an example in the audit department. Big four firms, they don't only recruit financial or audit trained people. They always recruit engineers, someone that does not have any audit skills. And those profiles take longer to get into the audit skills. But then once they get them, they are one of the best profiles for audit departments. And so that's kind of the transition I think we need to do towards the accounting skills too.
So I don't know, Johan, if there are some comments. If the audience wants to.
Yeah, we have a good question by Jared about this. If you can put it on the screen. So basically, Jared is saying, and I totally agree. I think I think we don't focus enough on that, on the accounting skills. When you say accounting or tax, everyone thinks about hard, expert skills, and I think that's obviously you need to be an expert. But I think empathy and understanding, and I always say kindness, bienveillance in French. It becomes really important, and being a team player. And I think now with the new generation coming in, actually, we won't really have much the choice. And we see, if you take a look at the turnover ratio in big four firms, I think, so I'm not sure, but I think what I've heard is that if you take the big four firm, 10 years ago, the turnover ratio was, I think, 3 years, the average, and now I think it's less than 1 year. And so it means that they won't have the choice but to adapt into soft skills and empathy and understanding of the team and the stakeholders. And so that's a really good question, Jared.
And invest in training.
Obviously in training to that.
Okay. So for us, as a conclusion on this part, as we just explained with Johan, data skills are now more and more important, and we believe over technical skills. And market will be more and more accessible to non-traditional profiles. And I think, Johan, you have a nice story you could share with us about that.
I'm not sure we have time, but one time in my career, I took a bet on someone that was a UPS driver, and because I thought the soft skills were amazing, and I wanted to give him a chance. And as of today, he's one of the best actually people in our team, and so that's a good example of a successful hiring on his soft skills versus technical skills.
Okay.
And I think, go ahead.
No. I think we can move to the. If you agree, we can move to the next part, which is how to meet. Yeah.
No, that's because the new team is going to be tech savvy. That we're going to be able to meet the needs of tomorrow and your needs, your CFO needs, and the company needs.
Exactly. So the third part is related to how to meet client expectations, so CFO expectation and needs. So automation, as we saw, will free. It's our opinion. Maybe someone doesn't share it, but for us, the automation will free accountants and not constrain them. So tomorrow, accountants will play a more creative and strategic role in order to meet the needs of tomorrow, as we we wrote it on the slide. So what are the needs? We are a bit in a hurry, so I will go quickly on this one. But what we understand on our side, there is less and less standardization. Okay, I mean the automation part is standardized, but for the rest, we need to set up tailor-made approach. Okay, so that's one idea. Second idea is that we are moving from macro to micro. Okay, so okay, and we need to offer à la carte. Okay, we need to offer tailor-made again approach to our clients.
Yeah, and I think but basically just to give my take on that is that basically obviously since the bookkeeping and all the automation part will save us time on the consulting part, we cannot just view consulting as we used to do. And so we're going to need to adapt and actually customize our consulting offers to adapt to actually the needs. And we think that a way to customize it to go into micro, into specific tasks, and to have team able to adapt and specialize in specific tasks, so that we can go into micro tasks and actually offer a customized consulting to the clients depending on their needs. And actually, we see the Big Four, Accenture, and all that. They more and more they go towards this business model and towards the data and consulting model.
So, for example, sorry.
No, and that's the shift basically.
You see that in our conclusion, but basically, yesterday CFO was speaking to a general engagement accountant. Okay, today tasks are split. Okay, so one is working on the data part, one is working on the business advisory part, one is working on the GAAP part, one is working on the tax part. Okay, so the engagement is really split into different tasks. So another idea is that accountants' focus will shift from production and support, so all the part that will be automatized, to advisory and non-traditional services. So what you can see is that we try to picture the idea. So on the left side of the slide, you have production and support, and there is a little robot and a box. So the idea is that all the production and support parts is face automation, okay? And on the right part, you have advisory and new service. Means that if you go from left to right, you increase both client expectations, but also the value that is added by the accountant or by the CPA. You want to go through the categories, Johan, or?
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what we're seeing throughout this presentation is that obviously the client expectations are going to really customize advisory and maybe new services, and that's where the CPA value needs to be basically, and that's where our value can be. And that's where we should focus on, obviously. I think we can conclude on that and take some Q&A, Gregor. There are a lot of questions.
Okay, so just as a conclusion, what did we go through this presentation? The idea is that the future accountant has to adapt to new operational paradigm. Okay, cloud, data, artificial intelligence, open API, okay, the new paradigm. Second idea is that automation, digitalization we believe, is an opportunity as soon as you invest in tools and in training of the people, okay? The third idea is that the new accountant will help to translate data into reports. It was the 6 steps method that we explained you. Another idea is that soft skills are more and more prevailing on hard skills. That's our belief. Another idea is that client expectations and accountant engagement are shifting from production, that was the box on the left part of the slide, from production to advisory, okay, and tailor-made services. And last idea that is represented in the picture you have on the screen is that the accountant population will be split into different jobs, expertise, tasks, as we explained 2 slides before. So you have the picture explaining that the CFO, the modern CFO will be talking to a modern accounting firm, and the modern accounting firm will propose different profiles dealing with different tasks. And we listed three categories, but you might add some other one, and all this is evolving every day. So it's just for you to remember the idea. It's not we don't have we don't believe that all we write is exactly what is happening and what is going to happen. But today we believe that the CFO will have to talk to a data scientist to plug the data and to be able to leverage the data, as we explained, and this data will be then analyzed and by business consultant, who will propose advisory to the CFO, and maybe more in the back you'll have the GAAP tax expert who will be a kind of guarantee and will guarantee all the technical aspects of the engagement.
Yeah, and actually, you see this shift in a lot of big four firms. You see PwC; they are going more and more with a business consultant and data scientists, and they are going more and more towards a firm like Accenture who does that really well. And I think the smaller firm and the middle-sized CPA firm, that's where they're going to have to go as well to add value and make sure to meet the expectation of the clients. So we have a question from Laura, I think, to conclude. I think it will be a good question to conclude the webinar. If we can pull it up. Last question from Laura on the screen.
And Johan, if you can read it for me, please, because
yeah. So okay. So to echo the question of others, do you have any recommendations on which are the first skills, tools we should learn to equip us for the basics? For me, the tools. I mean, we can talk about it after on the table. But for me, the most important skill is to learn how to do some light coding and to do API coding. Basically, that's for me the first skill to develop. That's the one I've trained on myself. That's the first skill to develop until we see maybe next time, and that might be the future where we move towards some no code environment. Then at that time, even though the API skills might not be worth it, it will always be an additional skills to have. So developing skills towards the coding API, open API coding, it's for me the first skills to focus on. So I think it concludes our session. I hope you all enjoy our session. We'll be at the table, advisory and accounting, after this session. So feel free to come and we can have a little chat or a longer chat. Thank you, Gabriel, for hosting this webinar with me, and that was a pleasure as always. The same. Thank you, guys, and have a good day, and enjoy the rest of the summit.
And just before we meet on the table, if you want to continue the discussion, we'll share the deck with you guys with the CFO Connect population and Spendesk. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Bye.